Oh, and we are live. Oh, hello once again, everybody, and welcome into The Last Word. We're going to go with the War Room tonight. We're trying to spread out all of our brands just because
Everywhere.
I'm a terrible producer, and Producer Man is on vacation. Now, as
Yep.
always, we're here every single Monday night around 11:10 p.m. Eastern Time. I am the coach. He is my partner, Big Tommy C. This is Behind the Turnbuckle, The Last Word. And Tommy, in the business, and a load of rich already there. Raw solid once again. Tommy, we like to call this the go-home version of Monday Night Raw. What grade would you give tonight, just 5 days before the biggest event of the summer?
You know what, Coach? Back in the day, that was the go home week. You see it on your rundown. It was brought up live and everything. So this is the go home to make sure everybody watches in 5 or 6 days. And I really think it was maybe a B, maybe a little C. Everything is set, Coach. So what else can happen? Of course, is to upgrade the storylines a little more, bring a little heat to them. And they did that with some of the matches coming out on SummerSlam, and I know we're going to talk about everything, but one of the cool new things I saw tonight, and we're talking about, Lee, the producer, was they kind of did for these main matches one-on-one testimonials where it was like Liv talking to the camera. And we'll get into it, but that was one of the cool parts.
Talk about it right now. That's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
it was really cool the way they did it. It was one-on-one, and as they're talking about it, and I'll just use Liv right off the top.
Mm-hmm.
She had flames behind her. She had a barrel with flames in there, and she looked like she's ready to cry. She cut a great promo. I thought you were the one. I thought we were going to be it, but no, you threw it away for Rhea. And she takes the picture of her and Dom into the fire, takes the T-shirt into the fire. But she goes, you know what my biggest thing is going to be? The Live Revenge Tour is going to beat Rhea at SummerSlam, and that's how she ended it. And it was really good. All the testimonials were pretty good.
See, whenever you do something like that, I've always really liked it when it's believable, when it's really got heat to it. And I really feel like this Liv, Rhea, Dom situation for the last several weeks is probably one of the only storylines, Tommy, that has true heat that you can truly feel. Why? Because it's women involved with a man, and the women are going to fight for something that means something. But I still can't get past, because when I get to the match part, I live in reality, Tommy. And to me, what is Liv going to have to do to be able to physically match up with Rhea in a match? That's the part that I can't wrap my head around, and I don't know how they're going to make that look real to me. Do you worry about the same thing?
Absolutely, Coach. The size difference alone, and probably the heat that Rhea wants to bring upon Liv. I don't know if she can take all that heat and the size of Rhea, what she can do in the ring, and I don't know how Liv combats that at all. I don't know, unless she brings a bat in the ring or something like that. And you're right. It's very interesting to find out what is going to happen in that match. Because in my world, I would love for Liv to keep the title a little bit longer in my eyes. That's what I would like to
see. I don't think Rhea needs, that you talk about certain superstars. And by the way, as the live crowd continues to grow, thanks for hanging out with us here on The Last Word. We also have a premium show called The War, and we're just showing you all of our graphics tonight. To me, there are certain people, Tommy, that don't need a title. There are certain people that are just great characters, and they can hold their own without giving them the championship. I think Rhea Ripley is one of those. So if she doesn't have the title, I don't think less of her. But for Liv to have the title, I think more of her. So I agree with you. I would love to leave the title on her. Now, as always, and I was reading different recasts because the show was on Sci-Fi tonight, so I got a little bit of it. I live on the West Coast. I didn't get some of it. And basically, I saw somebody goes, well, we got to do this again because it is 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. Tommy, I hate to be the negative Nelly, but how many breaks do we need in the middle of matches? And then to start off the show, I was like, we're going to have fire, aren't we? Here comes Seth Rollins in his decked out referee. Here comes Drew. Here comes CM Punk. And of course, Adam Pearce, once again, rearing his ugly, bald head and all that comes with it. And all of a sudden, can't touch each other or the fight's off. Can't mess with me or the fight's off. Tommy, he made stipulations that make no sense.
Did
I watch something nobody else watched? He was like, if you do this, I'll count to 1 million if I want to. Like all these different things. I'm like, I just wanted a last man standing.
Right.
I just wanted no fault, count false anywhere, whatever. But I didn't get any of that. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. And you know the reason why they did it is to give a bigger role for Seth, because he had no match at the second biggest PLE of the year. They had nothing for him. So they made Seth to be the big guy in this whole thing. If you heard him, he goes, maybe I'll count to 3, maybe I won't. Maybe I will disqualify you, maybe I won't. So now you're thinking, what the hell's going on here? And in my eyes, they made it sound like Punk was the heel here. If you watch what Seth and Drew were saying to each other, because in the beginning, you saw Punk leave the ring and they said, no, you got to get back in the ring or else you're not going to have no match right now, because he wanted to see them face to face. But you can't touch each other. But he kind of went along the side of Drew. He goes, look, I don't like Punk. Punk don't like me. I don't like you. You don't like me. But we get it in another way. He was saying that, and it makes you think, wow, could Seth be leaning towards maybe taking care of Drew more than Punk? Who knows? But that's what they're doing. They gave Seth a bigger role because he's one of the top superstars, and they don't have a match for him at SummerSlam.
They don't have a match for him, Tommy. And to me, it's such a stretch that you're going all the way back to WrestleMania to have to tie the storylines together to go, this is why. Oh, this is why. Yeah, Seth doesn't like both guys. But to me, if I'm making it reality, like truly reality, Seth hates CM Punk way more than he would Drew. Like for real, in real life, CM Punk left this company. It was ugly. He went after everybody. Let's not forget that. He's coming back now because he's a changed man, and he very well may be. God bless him. But that doesn't change any of the things Seth said about him or what Drew has said about him, like in real life, Tommy. Not storyline.
Nope, you're
real life, right?
Yeah.
So to me, why don't we lean into real life? CM Punk, you're back. I'm here right now. You think you can beat Drew McIntyre anyway? And then you're going to have to beat me too. Really set the stage, Tommy, to where CM Punk has to climb an insurmountable mountain in Cleveland, Ohio, in front of 60,000 outdoors. Now I'm into it. I'm into it. But they didn't do any of that for me.
They didn't do any of that, Coach. And one of the reasons why, and he did, man, he put the berry job on everybody when he left that company. You never thought you'd see his face again. And the only reason why you are seeing his face is because the old regime's not there anymore. Let's face the facts here, right?
That's right.
I'm sure.
That's right.
I mean, we all know that, right, Coach? I mean, he buried the old man like there was no tomorrow on top of everybody else. And now you have the nerve and the balls to come back at Survivor Series.
That's
and
right.
You get guys like Seth are busting their ass, and he's already on top. Come on.
Tommy, do you think
you have a match for Punk?
Do you think if Vince was here, that CM Punk, they would have done a deal to bring him back? Like, be honest.
I think if Vince thought he could make some big money on Punk, he would do it. But in my heart, the way he tore Vince up, I'm not sure if Vince would have did it. But in business-wise, was Punk as hot as he was? He was hot in AEW, not as hot as I think that he thought he was in AEW. So, boy, that's a tough question, Coach. It really is.
We've seen it so many times, Tommy, and it's not the same thing, but I was kind of involved with it. The one thing that I always knew, and Rich says it in the chat, never say never in the WWE. Rich, truer words have never been spoken. But I was supposed to fight Stone Cold Steve Austin at a pay-per-view. And I have no issues with Stone Cold. We get along great, have for years, seen him many, many times. But he thought it was below him to have to fight me on the level on a pay-per-view. So he just didn't show up.
Right.
Probably cost me, I don't know, 15, 20 grand in bonus money. I have no idea. But I know I didn't get the payday. I had to wrestle a handicap match against Batista, I think. But my point for telling the story is Vince hired him back. Why? Because he did big business. JR got fired 5 times. He got rehired 5 times. Why? Because he's the best play-by-play guy in the history of wrestling. So if you have a voice or you're a big enough star, Vince would overlook a lot of those things to bring somebody back, which, by the way, did you see your boy there tonight? Can you not dress up a little for me? Jesse the Body Ventura. You
Oh my
can't put,
God.
I mean, he looked awful.
He looked like a bum.
Awful. Oh my
He looked like a
God.
bum.
Oh,
I'm watching,
please.
and even my wife said to me, he goes, "Boy, look how old." I said, "He looks like he lives on the street." I mean, really? I know, he's his own unique guy. And then, by the way, he made a lot of money off of this company. He made a lot of money off
Well,
WWE.
he made guys like me not make money because he famously, for people who don't know, sued the company back in the 90s because his voice was on every home video.
Yeah.
And all the boys were getting, right? So he ended up winning like $800,000 or $900,000, something like that, against Vince. And then Vince put in every one of our deals, Tommy, every one of the announcers, that we didn't get to count home video as where our voice, because of that lawsuit, to protect each other.
When I first started there, I was a PA, and he did Saturday Night's Main Event. He did Superstars and all this stuff like that. So I used to have to pick him up at the airport, and I'd pick him up at the airport, and all he would do in the car, like I had the Andre van back, and then that's the vehicle we use. If Andre wasn't using it, he'd sit in the passenger side, and he would do this the whole time. He would rock back and forth, and it was a thing because I think he was in the Navy SEALs. Maybe he heard bombs going off in his head or something, but he would only talk to you if the conversation centered around him. If it wasn't talking about him or in the past or what he did, what he looks forward to, it was around Jesse. Like, if you wanted to talk sports, he wouldn't talk sports. You want to talk what's going on in the bit, it had to be centered around him. So that gives you a little idea of what that guy's about. Didn't care how he looked. Sure didn't care. I haven't seen the guy in 20 years on TV, especially on a WWE TV, and he looked like he was living off the street.
Well,
so.
and there's been rumors online, and you know how much I hate dirt sheets and dirt sheet writers and all that. But hey, is WWE going to go back to having managers that can talk and have great personalities? How about Jesse the Body Ventura? And I said on social media, what the hell would they bring him back for? And tonight, case and point. If you want to come back and be on TV, you show up looking sharp. You show up in a suit. You got the hair slicked back. I don't care how old you are. There's been a lot of old managers over the years, but he clearly does not care. And Tommy, by the way, I'm still a little bit bitter because Vince hired him and NBC hired him in the original XFL. And I'm the only person that did the original at like 24 years of age and the one in 2020. Do you know how much Jesse the Body made per game in the XFL?
A lot more than you.
What? A lot. How about 100 times more than me?
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. $100,000 per game. 10 games, $1 million. I made $1,000 a game to be the sideline reporter for the B game opposite the A game if the power went out, which it did one time, by the way. So he made $1 million. He was like the big thing, and and it just was what it was. But that's who he is and who he was, and they fought all the time, so it was what it was.
Well, dude, here's the other. Just one more thing on Jesse there. Like, I know you're a big sports guy. I'm a big sports guy. What you forgot about football, he would never know. So why would they make him the B guy, right? It's only because.
Well, but you got to remember at that time, I was almost fresh out of college. I hadn't even done my ESPN time yet. I hadn't done all the stuff that I've done now.
I get it.
But I hear you. I hear you. Other things, and by the way, we are just approaching the bottom of the hour, almost 11:30 in the East, about 8:30 out here in the West. This is the last word part of Behind the Turnbuckle. Me and Tommy C, you guys are really helping us grow every single week. Do not forget, part 2 of our interview with Vince Russo is live right now. Part 3 is coming this week. Next week, by the way, Maven will be our guest on Behind the Turnbuckle. So, and Tommy, by the way, I wasn't going to say anything, but damn it, this is our show and this is our brand. We were all set to have a big-time AEW name on the show. But guess who put the kibosh on that name? That's right. That's right. Somebody at the top of AEW says, no. They're not going. Yes, they're not going on Behind the Turnbuckle. Didn't get a reason why. they don't want them on your show. So apparently we're making some waves, Tommy. I swear to God, a big time, I would not lie to you, a big time AEW name was all set to come on, contacted us about coming on the show because we're trying to create a brand where anybody can come. Anybody can tell their stories. It drives me insane when somebody on WWE or on social media, they go, oh, Coach, you're just kissing up to Triple H. Oh, hell no, we're not. We criticize WWE just like we criticize AEW. So I want this to be a place where we can talk about things, right? So this was going to be an incredible conversation about somebody who had, different things going on. They bring in other talent. There's issues with said talent. Wanted to tell a story. And he was told no.
So that talent picked behind the turnbuckle, who's like a little over 5 months old, 6 months old, to come on here to tell his story.
That's correct.
And the big guy said no. Because he knows about us. Wow.
Well, I mean,
I love it.
So do I. Everybody thinks that you and I are trying to get back in the WWE. That could not be farther from the truth.
No.
Could not be farther from the truth. We're here to make a new wrestling brand that's not full of dirt sheet rumors. Over 45 years, me and Tommy inside of the WWE combined. Over 45 years if you're new to our little show here. Me, almost 15. Tommy, 32.
Wow.
So if you think we want to go back there when we can have fun here talking about all things pro wrestling, they're out of their mind, Tommy. They're out of their mind. Now, Tommy, back to Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
I remember you were very critical of trying to rush this match out. And tonight really felt like, they're really struggling to find something to say. Damian Priest and Gunther. If I have to hear street trash one more time, if I hear Year of the Streets, I was this. I mean, the only thing that I can think of in this match that might be a throw-in might be Finn. Is you think Finn could get involved? But as much as I love Finn, he got his new contract. He's never really done anything for me as far as looking forward. He's a great, what we call, hand in the business. He can have a great match, great at house shows. He's not somebody that I think of that is going to make a difference. And I hate to say that, but that's how I feel.
Well, then why did Gunther bring him up, right? This is what I'm talking about. The latter part of his interview, that one-on-one, that new thing they were doing, because I've never seen that before. And all the years I was there on the go-home week, we never saw stuff like that. So why would he bring up Finn, of all people, right? Mm-hmm. Like some thinks he's a great worker in the ring, blah, blah, blah. But you wanted to join up with street trash, and that's just what he said. That just brings more heat. And by the way, more and more you look at this whole thing with Damian and Gunther, man, Gunther's making Damian like the biggest baby face in the world, Coach.
The biggest baby face, yes. Yes.
I think you watch the crowd reaction, right? You watch the crowd reaction on Saturday, and we'll be watching, fans, because we're doing our watch along on Saturday. And boy, Damian, even when Damian cut his one-on-one, I felt bad for him. He goes, I'm tired of hearing how I was brought up, because you were brought up. You had the best gyms. You had the best life. Even Damian kind of belittled himself a little to get him over more as a babyface. It was amazing. It was amazing. So
maybe I'm more of the entertainment guy, because it's all subjective and we all like who we like. But I guess I'm not in the camp of millions of other people. I'll give Gunther the credit that he deserves, but to me, I don't look forward to Gunther matches. It's kind of like Steven Regal matches back in the day. Yeah, he could get by, but is it entertaining? The style? No. When he talks, it's all about, I don't mind accents. Just don't give me 8 accents on Monday Night Raw. Don't give me accents that when you yell, I can't understand what you're going to say. If you're going to cut a promo, I got to be able to understand it. And a lot of times with Gunther, I can't understand what he's saying. And Rhea Ripley's the same way when she gets excited. You can't understand everything that she says. So
you're absolutely right.
By the way, as our live audience continues to go up, thank you so much. I mean, this is the biggest audience we've had so far live. But you heard Tommy talk about it. For our BTT Plus premium members, this Saturday, our very first live watch along, me and Tommy. And if you join, you can come watch it with us. We'll be talking you through all the things SummerSlam. It's where I turned heel back in 2003. We'll talk all about that. But you want to be a premium member. We'll tweet out the link as well. Be a part of our Patreon and everything that we are doing. Tommy, we talk about realistic, right? And we also talk about, man, are we doing the same thing over again? Zelina Vega, love her look. I've always been a big fan. But, Tommy, how many times is Damage Control, who are three badass women, going to attack somebody who's half their size and try and break their arm?
I was just going to say that. Like, it took three people to hold her down, and while the other one kicked her in the arm. I mean, that's not realistic, Coach.
No. We just talked with Vince Russo about this. It's got to be reality-based entertainment television.
Yeah. And what do you get out of it, Coach? What are we getting out of a little? Do we feel bad for Zelina? I mean, she's not on the road to a championship anytime soon. At least I don't see it happening anytime soon. So all it does is make you feel sorry for her, and that's it. Because what does it do for her character? What does it do for her in WWE? And what does it do for the other three? Absolutely none. The girl's about 4'11", right? And tough as she is, and she's feisty as anything. But it took two of you, and while the other one kicked her in the broken arm or fractured arm or whatever she had, it's another segment being done to fill 3 hours, Coach.
That's it. That's it. But you know what was glaring tonight, Tommy, to me? And this is something we haven't talked about a lot here on BTT, but there is a serious lack of depth right now. And when you don't have Becky Lynch, when you don't have Charlotte Flair, by the way, there was some video of Charlotte Flair working out in the ring for the first time I saw it today. But when you don't have these two megastars, just think how different it would be if Damage Control was beating up Charlotte Flair.
No. Yeah.
Right? Now that would be a 3-on-1 I can get into.
Right.
Now you're beating up one of the greatest of all time, who is 6'1" or 6 feet tall and has won multiple championships in her career, and it's believable. And we never want to pick on somebody because of their size, but this is pro wrestling. Tommy, people told me all the time, Conor McGregor would be a great pro wrestler. He weighs $150. No, he would not. There's one Rey Mysterio. That's it. You got to have some size.
Yep.
Even on the female side, you got to have some size to make it believable. And Zelina Vega, when you're trying to, I like her as a sidekick, as a manager. But they're trying to make her a full-time wrestler.
I don't get it, Coach. I don't get what that whole segment was and what it did for anybody. And by the way, man, I really miss Charlotte. I mean, she just changes the whole scene when you see Charlotte there and what she can do and how she does it. It ups everybody else's game up 3,000% in my eyes.
Right. By the way, I say the wrong? It was Shayna, Zoe, and Sleep. I said the right group, right?
No, it's Sonya Deville. It was Sonya. It's not Damage Control. It's Io Sky and the other two.
I said the wrong thing. My apologies. Yeah. It was. I knew who I was talking about.
It was Baszler, Sonya, and the other one, Starks.
There's so many factions. There's so many.
By the way, that makes it even look worse because Baszler's like a brick shithouse, right? And so
that's
is
my
Zoe
point,
Starks.
Tommy.
Yeah.
She could do it by herself.
So
Probably
could
with one arm
Sonya.
tied behind her back. Yes.
Sonya's almost 6 feet. I mean, it looks like. So
do we forget when she came into the WWE, it was all about her MMA career?
That's right.
I mean, she came in basically at the same time as Ronda Rousey. It was all about MMA. We're real fighters. Shayna Baszler, a real fighter, came from MMA. Why would you need three people to beat up Zelina Vega? All right. Let's spin this forward to SummerSlam now, Tommy, because I felt like tonight was a lot of.
I just have one question for you. I have one question.
Yeah.
You know how I've been talking about a storyline marinating and marinating and marinating and marinating?
Yes.
Well, tonight was the first time we saw the Wyatt Six come out and they stomped on the Creed brothers and Gable. Do you think they brought them out too early, seeing them take off their mask and getting in the ring and showing them what they can do? Do you think this started too early or?
Well, Tommy, we said this 3 weeks ago. You can do one of two things. You can either drag it out and make me believe in it, or you can screw it up and take away all the believability to it. I believe everything led to, hey, let's just make them real people again. I loved what they did for a month. But, Tommy, they didn't protect it. They didn't protect it off screen, in the public. They didn't protect it on the show because they kept bringing the real person out. So, yes, I think it was way too early, but they had already let the cat out of the bag, in my
You're
opinion.
right. All right.
You know, it just, that thing could have gone for 6 months.
Yep.
I mean, I learned so much from Vince in our interview that, Tommy, you and I mean, it's over 45 years, and we sit in these meetings, and they have these writers that they hire from either Hollywood or a former wrestler. And I'm like, is this the best that 8 to 10 people can come up with? Is that it?
Here's my other point with this, Coach. They could have did so much at that stadium. I'm talking freaky shit. Like in the crowd, the light go on, and then you see a shadow of someone in the stadium. I'm just talking, you had so much to play with at that stadium where you could have put the Wyatt Six almost in every other match in some other way. They're going to fuck with you during this match, or somebody up top. Or you have an outdoor stadium to play with, and you brought these 3 people out, took their mask off, and we know it's Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, and the other jabroni, whatever. And now it just becomes a regular wrestler now, and they're going to wrestle at Raw next week. And when you have a stadium like Cleveland where you could expose that a little bit and just make the mystery of it even better, fucked it up, Coach.
I know.
I know it's after 11, and I'm swearing.
It's rare that you have, and we said this, and I had a feeling they were going to do this. It's rare that you have something that goes beyond just the realm of what we can understand. And I was so tired of us getting ripped on social media. Oh, we know, we see behind the scenes. Oh, really? Because to me, as I'm back into it, watching it again, after I didn't watch it for several years because obvious reasons. But I choose not to read dirt sheets. I choose not to read, here's what's coming. I only watch the shows, and I take away from the shows my take, Tommy. And yet they gave all that away, and I knew they were going to give it away. And I was like, what are you doing? And if I'm part of the Wyatt Six, all of them, Tommy, all of them have had a long road.
Yep.
And not always a successful road. Right. So if I would have been them, and we talked about this, I would have been every pitch that I made to Triple H. Protect this brand. Protect this group. And they did none of that. From night freaking 1 with the picture at Whataburger all the way through the sit-down interviews with going back and forth, they didn't protect it.
Yeah,
they didn't protect it.
You're absolutely right.
All right, let's spin it forward because this is I was thinking about this as I was watching off and on because it was like I was getting part of it, wasn't getting part of it. That whenever you have to go home, it's usually kind of a wasted show. And when SmackDown moved live to Friday nights, I don't remember the last SmackDown that I watched right before pay-per-view that meant anything. Like, what are you going to do Friday night that's going to affect anything that happens Saturday?
Nothing.
That's probably why it's going to be the lowest rated SmackDown in probably 2 or 3 months, I would guess.
Yep.
But are you, or I should say, what are you most looking forward to as far as matches or something that we're going to get to talk about live on our watch party this Saturday right here on Behind the Turnbuckle?
I'm really interested in the Cody match, only to the fact that I think that maybe Roman's going to show his face and how he's going to do it. If it happens, maybe it won't happen. I'm speculating that it will because Jay doesn't have a match. We haven't seen Jimmy in a while, and I'm just speculating that he's going to bring those 2 guys back with him. I could be totally wrong because Jay is on his own right now, and he's very hot, so hot that he doesn't have a match at SummerSlam. Am I right or wrong? God, and he does have a really cool T-shirt, by the way.
He does. I love the T-shirt.
And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Braun just terrorizing Sami Zayn from pillar to post and actually being a young man, so young in the business, taking the title away from Sami Zayn. That's what I'm really interested in that. And I'm interested in the Liv match. It's really piqued my interest with Dom, and maybe Finn might be getting involved with it. And now maybe Finn getting involved with Gunther and Damian. So maybe that gets thrown out the window with the whole Dom situation, which we were thinking because he had the hotel room key and blah, 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 blah. But now that Gunther brought it up in his little testimonial tonight, right?
Yep.
That's got to mean something to me, right? So I'm really interested in Liv and kind of like with the outcome. And I hope there's just not a lot of screwed up fucked finishes, as we say in the business. I want to see some. I'm really swearing tonight. That's really bad.
Yeah, you really. This is classic Tommy C right here.
Yeah, this is classic. When the Yankees lose or the Giants, it's just classic, and that happens a lot, by the way.
Let me throw you. I want to throw some numbers at you, Tommy, and this may help you lead your mind down the right journey. So, for anybody watching right now, we've got a guy. He's part of our crew. He's on both brands, driving the line and behind the turnbuckle. His name is Rafael Esparza. We call him the numbers guy. And his entire business, Tommy, is when a sports book will call him and say, I need odds for this or for this. Okay. He makes the odds and he's on our team. Okay. So lately, wrestling betting has gotten so big with global sports books that they started calling him. Swear to God, this is a true story. They started calling him and asking him for odds, not just for SummerSlam and PLEs, but for Raw and for SmackDown as well, which may lead to our first big partnership, hint, hint, in the next couple of weeks. Now, he sent these odds to me, Tommy, right before the show. And this one, we haven't mentioned his name in weeks. Will Roman Reigns appear in the ring on Saturday? -400, yes. +250, no. Which means if you want to win, and most books are limited, like $25 or something, is more fun than anything. But I'm kind of getting into it. So if you want to win $100, you'd have to spend $400. That's how much people think Roman Reigns is going to show up on Saturday. What do you think, Tommy?
Wow. Give me those odds one more time, Coach. I want to hear that again.
All right, -400. -400 that he will show up. So 4-1. 4-1.
Okay.
And then for him not to show up is +250. Which basically means you bet 100, you win 250. For him not to show up in the ring on Saturday.
So you're betting 100 to get. So you're betting 400 to get 100.
To say that he shows up, yes.
Right.
Yeah. 4-1.
I think
heavy favorite.
I think he's showing up, Coach. I definitely think he's showing up. Yeah, I think he's coming full blaze.
In what capacity is he showing up?
I think it's going to be during the match, the solo Cody match somehow.
Okay.
That music's going to fucking hit, man, and it's just going to drive the place nuts. And he's going to come down. And whatever happens after that is going to happen. But I don't think it's going to be at the end of the show because I think the show is going to be pretty long. I think it's going to be a long show. Go after 11 because the last PLE didn't go after 11. I think it was over like 10 something if I remember.
Yeah, it wasn't super long.
No, it wasn't. So I think this one's going to be a little longer. It's an outdoor venue. I think it's going to be sometime during the match. And I want to say Jimmy and Jay, but I'm a little hesitant on the Jay part of it. I want to say Jimmy's going to come with him, and I know the Wise Man. And it may be just Roman and the Wise Man. So that music is going to hit. And just for the effect of listening to that crowd pop and not seeing this guy in 3 months, and we all know he left the heel, but Solo's made him a baby face right now. And I like what you talked about last week about that little double swerve where he's controlling the puppets a little bit. So whatever's going to happen, he's going to be a part of SummerSlam. There's no way he's not showing up, Coach. Besides, when would he show up, right?
All right. Now, I just did an MMA movie, my first MMA movie I was a part of recently. Do you know who else just ended a shoot on their own MMA movie as well this particular week, Tommy?
Would that be the Final Boss?
It would be the Final Boss. None other than Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
He's done with that?
He's done. He is wrapped. He is finished, which means he's got some time on his hands.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. I literally just researched it before the show. So he is around. Now, if I'm the WWE, because we did this back in 2006 with me and Eugene, we snuck The Rock into San Diego, and there is nothing like a pop when you sneak somebody in, the crowd doesn't know they're coming, and they show up. Nothing like it. I would not advertise him. I would bring him in on a private jet, get him into a vehicle with. I might fly him into Canton That's how big of a deal it would be if both showed up, Tommy.
Wow.
Both.
Dude, that changes the game big time for me now. Now you tell me that, I'm like, okay, he finishes the movie. He's got time off. You don't think he wants to, especially with his little ego, not to be in front of 60,000 fans? Give me a break. I mean, if he finished on Friday, he'd call Nick Khan up saying, I'm coming. They rewrite that fucking show just for him, man.
Well, look what
my God.
Look what Rich. I know I'm blowing your mind right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he says, what if The Rock shows up at SummerSlam to aid Solo to win the undisputed title? This could be the ultimate double swerve of all time. If you missed our show last week, what I said I think is going to happen, because they've allowed Solo, Tommy, to use exactly the same verbiage as Roman. I'm the head of the table. You acknowledge me. And to me, even if it's family, if somebody's using my shtick and they're calling themselves my name, I'm pissed. I'm not having it unless Roman told him to. And if Roman told him to and he shows up and all of a sudden he's standing there, is he going to help Cody? Is he going to help? Why would he help Cody? Cody just beat him for the title of WrestleMania. But then Solo has been using his name. So now which one does he beat up? And then to me, you get the big hug. Cody somehow still goes over because he's got to keep the title.
Definitely, yeah.
Got to keep the title. But to me, and then Roman retakes his position at the front of the table and everybody else falls back in line. What do you think?
Wow. And you know what? They can keep the bloodline as strong as they can be, and it could be a swerve down the line where Solo 100%. Turns on Roman at, say, that coming up at Survivor Series. Like, you keep that locomotive going with the bloodline with Rock and Roman. Now they're all together, and then you see Roman's back on top, and week by week something happens. Like we all think when Rock was doing it in the beginning, like, you know, we all thought maybe was Rock really in with the bloodline, blah, blah, blah. So it's very interesting that you say that. And wow. And by the way, folks, you're going to get our real reaction on our watch.
Live and in the moment. Live and in the moment. We'll be live Saturday night.
Dude, we're going to pop like
premium.
We're going to pop like we did for DDP, and we saw Cody come in. That was the biggest surprise for us of all time right now. So imagine that happening at SummerSlam.
Let me throw a couple other numbers at you, Tommy.
Yes.
So Jake Paul just had a knockout win over Mike Perry recently in Orlando. Will Jake Paul appear at SummerSlam with his brother Logan Paul, who has a match against LA Knight? And if you watch BTT, you know I'm one of Logan Paul's biggest fans. I do not care if he's a part-timer. This kid has got it. So, yes, his brother will plus 200, which means that he's an underdog, that people think he won't show up. But the no is minus 300. So it's really heavy that he will not show up. Do you think Jake Paul walks his brother down the aisle, or Triple H would even allow that to happen?
Oh, I don't think Triple H. I think Triple H would encourage it. I mean, the more media, the more people you get to watch WWE, and I think it will. They support each other very well, and you saw Logan Paul was there for Jake on Saturday night, and he got there a little late. He said stuff, but he made it there. So I think those brothers are so tight that they support each other that he will, and I think he will walk with him down. Because, by the way, they're both from Cleveland, right? They're both from Ohio.
Yeah, they're Cleveland. Jake, I think Jake's first real boxing fight was in Cleveland. That one, first or second one. So it would make sense that the whole family would be there. And he has a fight with Mike Tyson coming up next in November. Yeah. And as we know, Mike Tyson has a long history with the WWE as well. So I'm just throwing stuff out there, Tommy. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, we could be writers. I swear to God,
Tommy, we're too good. Our minds are too good to be writers for the WWE. Stop it. Wow. Plus, I would never work for 5 days and let them rip the show up. Tommy, this next number, and it speaks to what you were just talking about and what we were just talking about. Will the Wyatt 6 appear at SummerSlam? Yes is minus 165. No is plus 125. What that means is people do not think the Wyatt 6 or sports books do not think that the Wyatt Six will appear at SummerSlam. And you described beautifully what could have happened, Tommy. But now it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
It doesn't make sense because you kind of exposed them tonight, Coach. But I would think I would love, I mean, man, I would love to see them. This is my own opinion, right? I mean, I would love to see them in some capacity just messing with everybody at SummerSlam in some way, shape, or form. And you got that whole stadium to play with, dude, and put these guys in 4 different corners or whatever. You could put them on the 3rd tier up there and have I mean, there's so much that WWE can do production-wise because they're so good at it. Do you know what I mean? Guys like Jason Robinson, who I've known for years, that guy does all the line. He designs all the sets. He's been doing it for years. So you got Jason Robinson, directors like Marty Miller and all these other guys that kind of come up with some creative ideas. And without having, without having the Wyatt Six, man, in that stadium, I would think it would be a big time loss unless they think they got that card big enough where, man, we don't need them, and we're just that's why they made the match for Monday on
Tommy,
Raw.
it's not even about the card.
Yeah, I know.
Think about what it would look like to have 60,000. Isn't it 60,000, 60-some thousand?
Yeah, 60.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Imagine if all the lights go out. What if they did? I mean, that would be a moment. And to me, big. I hate calling them PLEs. Big pay-per-views. We're not calling them PLEs here on the show. They're pay-per-views. Damn it.
Right.
Pay-per-views are about moments.
Yep.
And SummerSlam is about moments. We don't have another big one until the Royal Rumble. Well, Survivor Series. There's Survivor Series. But truly, individually,
you're right.
Royal
It's Rumble. It's Rumble. Yeah.
So, man, just
imagine in that stadium, and you hear that piano, dung, dung, the lights go out.
Bananas.
Bananas ain't the word, Coach.
Wow.
It would be really incredible.
Maybe they'll surprise us.
Just as a scenic and getting shots for packages and stuff like that, man, that would be worth it just alone. Just saying we are an entertainment company. I know we call it pro wrestling now, but don't let it fool you, folks. We still do entertainment too. So,
by the way, Rich in the chat said, "You fellows are overqualified to be writers." Believe me, we known about 100 they hired on 3-month tryouts, and about 99 of them didn't finish 3 months. That's how bad of a job it is to be a writer in the WWE.
Do you know Ed Koski? I think he still heads up Raw. He's a writer.
Is he still there?
He's a VP. He's a VP of writing.
Now he's different. I love Ed Koski.
By the way, you know who he worked for?
Who?
Me.
You hired him?
I hired him and he worked for me. So I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a writer, right? And I said, okay. So back in the day, it was Stephanie that was heading up the creative writing team. And I got in touch with Steph. I said, I got this young kid, Ed Koski, man. He seems like good. And I said, so, all right, give me a little sample of your writing, And you know what he did? He was so smart. You know what he did? He took the Raw rundown and wrote his own show. And I said,
really?
I looked at it. Yeah, he did that. And I said, I got him the interview with Stephanie, and she wanted him to come up with some ideas. I said, you see what you got right here, dude? This is what I want you to present to Stephanie right here. And she fucking loved it, man. She loved that he took the time to do, we've all seen the Raw rundowns and stuff like that, title, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And he raw, in, out, pre-tape, blah, blah, blah. And he got the job, and he heads up the writing for Raw.
Oh, my God.
And every time I see him, he goes, and he's such a good kid, man. He goes, I can't thank you for giving me the opportunity. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'm like, look, dude, I got you. You drank the water. You got you there. I led you there, kind of. You did the rest. And for him to last that long as a writer, Coach, as you know.
Well, I respect it. But just like Michael Cole, I don't think I'd want his life because they're not allowed to miss a show. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, shout out to Hassan in the chat. Thank you very much. Just subscribe to the channel. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. If you want to be a premium member, we encourage you to do that as well. Bodie says, hey, Coach, good to see you. Bodie, good to see you too. Tommy, and I want people to understand this, and this is not exaggeration. Michael Cole has not missed a week. Has not missed a week since the 90s. Now,
God.
as great of a job as he has, and Ed Koskey, the writers are in the same boat. Now, I know Triple H has changed it a little bit,
Yes,
but there's still a brutal schedule. And I remember the writers literally would work all week, Tommy. They would write the entire show. Saturday, Vince would look at it. This sucks. Rip it up, and they would start again and literally waste 5 to 6 days of their lives because Vince didn't like it.
Yep.
I used to feel so bad for those guys. They had no lives. 8-hour conference calls on Saturdays, Tommy. You remember those?
Yes.
Anytime people say, "Oh, it must have been the greatest thing in the world," it was a good job. But make no mistake about it, a lot of you have no clue what it was like to work for the WWE. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh, if you would have said, "Hey, coach, we'll pay you $1 million to be a writer," I probably wouldn't have taken it. I probably wouldn't have taken it.
Yeah, like I said, remember you asked me what the toughest job in the WWE is? It's being a creative writer.
Yeah.
Especially back in that day.
That's exactly right.
When you had the VKM there.
Oh, my goodness. All right, we are hitting the top of the hour. Just about to wrap things up. We go about maybe 50. I can't believe it's been almost an hour already. Every single Monday night, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. That way, you turn on those notifications as soon as we start a show, and we kind of put up our war room. That's our big premium show. Me and Tommy argue over the 5 biggest topics of the week, sometimes a bonus topic as well. It's only $5.99 a month, plus you get live Q&As. You get live watch-alongs. Our first one this week at SummerSlam. You're going to get a ton of other things, so be a part of everything we're doing here at Behind the Turnbuckle. All right, Tommy, as we wrap things up, again, another uneventful Raw. I don't expect much from SmackDown. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you truly for SummerSlam?
I would say an 8. I'm excited. I'm excited. I always liked SummerSlam. Whether I worked the pay-per-view, in which I did work mostly every one of them, but I just like the whole theme. It's the SummerSlam, the whole bit. It's the biggest party of the summer and all that. I just like the whole theme of it. Now, whether the matches come through or not, and I'm interested in these matches also, and the atmosphere, bringing it out to the stadium and Cleveland. I like Cleveland. It's a rural town. It's a blue-collar town, right? So I think a lot of that, you're going to probably see a lot of Cleveland Browns there because they're training right now. So, and you might see some Cavaliers there and stuff like that. That's beside the point of everything. But I just like the fact that it's in Cleveland, it's in the stadium, and it's outside. It's probably going to be hot as hell. But I think there's a lot of things to look forward to. And the biggest question is, will our boy Roman show up? Or will it be the final boss?
Shout out real quick to Rick. Coach says, "Coach, what's up? Love BTT." Thank you, Rick. So cool to see you doing wrestling again. Tommy is awesome. You're damn right. I told Tommy he'd become like an internet sensation, and it's exactly what he has. 32 years behind the camera, and who knew that he would be this good in front of the camera? Tommy, finally, when you talk about 2003, Cleveland, Ohio, that was the first time that I met one LeBron James.
Wow.
And I'll never forget, he got drafted in the summer right before SummerSlam. SummerSlam 2003 is when I turned heel with Eric Bischoff. And when I attacked Shane McMahon with the steel chair 3 or 4 times, I got kicked in my rib so hard I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to die. I swear to God, Tommy, I thought I was going to die in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shane McMahon. Went back to the hotel. The fans were going bananas. There had never been an announcer turn physical heel before me. We got it done. And later that year, we met LeBron James in Cleveland. He showed up for Monday Night Raw. And Tommy, it was literally like seeing Jesus Christ walk in the building. They fell all over themselves. Rock star. Absolute rock star. Same way I felt when I met Michael Jordan, too. Same exact way. Same exact way. And now, look, LeBron James still playing in the NBA 21 years later.
39 years old. Leading the USA.
You're damn right. All right. Do not forget, later this week, we will drop the War Room. If you're a premium member, as soon as it drops, you will be notified. And then Saturday night, me and Tommy, for the very first time, our first live watch along, we're going to take you all the way through SummerSlam match by match. Right now, 7 matches, the last time I counted, on the card. We'll see how long that lasts, but we'll be there with you every single step of the way.
I want Rich to bring his friends, man. I want Rich and all these other guys to bring they're going to get real reactions out of us. So that'll be worth it, man. It's going to be something, man. I can't wait.
Damn right. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for hanging out with us here on The Last Word. For Big Tommy C, I'm the coach and producer man who's never taken a vacation again. We'll see you later this week on the War Room and Saturday at SummerSlam. Take care.